How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good one. Today, I wanted to make a video about depression. Like what, I don't know where I could start, right? But I guess it's always like experience, right? Experience. Like my own experience, right? My own experience with it. I think I've been in, or I've had, like 3 depressions. Like 3, you know what I mean? And the first one was the only one that really got me. Like it fucking, that's the only one that knocked me on my ass, you know what I mean? And that was like when I was like 18 years old. Like from when I was 18. And it might have lasted like a year or 2, maybe even longer, but not as strongly or powerfully. It was, I think I had just turned 18, graduated, and shit started going downhill. Financially, and it was kind of like I was going into a hole that I couldn't get out of, you know what I mean? And I didn't know when, if there was even an exit, right? And I'm talking financially. Like there was no clear sign of when the fuck is this gonna end, right? And I think I started paying karmas too. I think I started paying karmas too. Like in love, I want to say. Like I don't want to say I've did a lot of girls wrong, right? But it was like the chicks that I was with. I would find a better looking one, and I would go with her, right? And it's just kind of like that. Well, you know, when I was young, the ego, right? It's the ego. Like I was like, fuck, if I could pull this fine ass chick, imagine what, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, right? But I would leave the previous one behind and go to the next one and the next one, right? And I think by 18, I was kind of like that shit started turning around on me, right? Like the karma started catching up of what I was doing. I was kind of like, I don't know if God or life was blessing me with these females or chicks or whatever. And I was just kind of like fucking not being appreciative, or I don't know, right? When you're young and dumb, or me, when I was young and dumb, I fucked up a lot, right? And well, to make a long story short, I think I was paying those karmas too, and financially I was going into another, I guess I could see it now, like another cycle of, I don't want to say scarcity, but it was like I was working dead end without having any money, right? Day in, day out, going to school and all that. But that's how my first depression, I guess you could say, started or unfolded, and that one was, I think, the one that really got me. Like it really fucking got me. Like I was in a whole nother very, very low state mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, on all those levels, right? And then once you start going down that path, you just fucking go to rock bottom and keep going a little bit further, right? Like a domino effect in that direction. But it was a big blessing. It was a big blessing. Looking back, I can see that it was a very big, powerful blessing. It was life teaching me, right? Like the way I got out of that one, working out. I started working out. And I got a girlfriend at the time, and to be quite honest with you, like to keep it real with you, I kind of had a lot of sex. You know what I mean? With that girlfriend, with all the girlfriends, right? That's what it's human nature, but I think that's how it was. Kind of like man, I fucked my way out of that depression, you could say, right? If I being completely honest, right? That and I started working out. And it was kind of like that chick at that point in my life. It was a healing relationship, right? And pretty much like healing through love and through having sex. You know what I mean? And I kind of came up and started getting stronger, and that's when I kind of started going into a whole nother levels, right? Spiritually, getting that spiritual inclination, right? I started by working out, and I think the other two depressions didn't really get me as hard because of the fact that I was already working out. You know what I mean? I was already had better habits, better disciplines. So it didn't really drag me through the fucking mud like the first one did. Like it was other factors and other scenarios and stuff, but it didn't get me like the first one got me, right? And I don't want to never say ever, right? Never say never. But I don't think that a depression will get me the way the first one got me. You know what I mean? Because you build the strength, you know what I mean? You build the foundation, and although you might crack or whatever, you still have your foundation and your strength, right? And I think out of that one too, or the last one, right? I had another girlfriend, and same thing. I felt like that relationship was a healing that I needed, right? Like, of course, it's always mutual, and you always kind of benefit one another, right? It's always mutual. You always learn what you need to learn, you grow where you need to grow, and you empower one another the way it needs to happen, right? that one too, like think through her love, right? And of course, through the act of making love, right? I think was what kind of got me out of that one too, right? You know what I'm saying? You change your state. You change your state. And if we're speaking like scientifically or on a rational level, what is depression, right? It's emotions of sadness, loss, guilt. Like it's lower emotions, right? So what did I do? I just started connecting with higher emotions, love. You know what I mean? Working out, dopamine, channeling the energy, all those things, right? And if emotions are something that has a physical manifestation in the body, how do you get rid of it, right? Working out, right? Replacing it with better emotions, with more positive emotions. And I'm gonna refer to one time I read a book, Tony Robbins. I think it was Unlimited Power or Awaken the Giant Within. I read those two from him, and he speaks about something that he did with his clients that had depression. He says he would meet them, like a consultation or whatever, at his house. He says he lived he had a really nice house, I think by the beach, or I don't remember, but he said the drive to there, it was just all nature, and his house was just surrounded by big, beautiful trees. And he said he did that on purpose so that they could come into a more relaxed state, or more relaxed, you know what I mean? Other than being in a business setting or a fucking, you know what I'm saying? And he says he liked watching them drive up and see them like kind of looking at all the trees, and it would kind of bring them into a really relaxed state, right? And he would like bring them in and had like small talk with them. How are you? Blah blah. This and that. And he said that they were in such a positive and good mood. And then he would just kind of initially be like, well, what are you here for, right? And he said immediately when he was kind of asked them, that their posture would drop, right? Their shoulders would drop. They would hunch over and put a sad face, and start talking even in a different tone. And he saw this, right? Like their change of state. Once he asked them, their state would just fucking fall. And when he saw this happen, he would say, "Oh, wait a minute. We're not starting yet. Hold on." And immediately they would go back to normal. Like, cause he would do it even like in an aggressive or upset manner. Like we're not starting yet. Like what are you doing? And they would go back to normal. They would go back to like a happy or peaceful state. And he says the reason why he would do that was to make them realize that they were creating the state, right? They were creating that depression. They were creating that sadness. And like with that realization right there, it's kind of like, okay, I'm lifting up your state real quick, and boom, let me just slip in the fucking truth and fucking shine a light onto what's really happening, right? And of course, he probably had other things and other methods and whatever, but from that point forward, the person knew that they were the ones who were creating that reality, right? It's kind of like an aha moment or a illumination, shining the light on the darkness of what was really happening. And I don't remember if it was him, but I've heard this many times. It takes as much work to be sad and depressed as it does to be happy and at peace and joyful. It takes the same amount of work, right? The same. Like it takes work to be sad. You have to think sad thoughts. You have to move in a sad way. You have to have the physiology of a sad person. You have to say sad things. It takes the same amount of work, like the exact same amount of work to fucking think good thoughts, to say good words, to move in a manner of feeling good, you know what I mean? It takes the same amount of work, so you know what I'm saying? And in no way, shape, or form, like, could I say, snap out of it, right? Like, snap the fuck out of it, right? You know, like, from experience, I know that it is, it's kind of like those, when life hits you really hard, and, it's like it punches you in the gut, right? And you fucking begin to fall down and crumble, and it's one of those hard fucking punches that takes years to recover from, right? Speaking metaphorically. And like say like a really fucked up thing happened, right? Like a really fucked up thing happened in your life. Maybe it was a loss. Maybe it was you fucking lost everything, right? Maybe it was a physical loss of a loved one or things like that, right? Or maybe it was like me with my first experience. I was going down the wrong path for a long time, and I needed to get my shit together. You know what I mean? So with that being said, what I'm trying to get at is like there is things that we do gotta face, right? There is things that we do gotta face. If whatever the case may be, we do gotta face something, right? Like it could be, you know what, I gotta face myself. I've been fucking up, and I really gotta fucking reflect, analyze, be with whatever the fuck I'm doing, and change it, right? Something's gotta give, right? Or something has to change, or right? Or if it's the loss of someone, what you gotta be with grief, you know what I mean? You do have to process that emotion, right? I mean, every emotion, it needs to be processed, right? It needs to be processed. It can't just be shoved under the rug and fucking keep shoving it under the rug until one day you have this fucking terminal illness, right? Cancer or something bad. Because of all those suppressed emotions. That's why expressing the emotion, expressing it, processing it, dealing with it is part of it. So it does have to be. It does need attention. It does need to be worked through, worked on, right? And once you feel like you dealt with that stuff that was in the shadows, you know what I mean? And you learned, or you overcame, or you were at peace with, you gotta get back on this side, you know what I mean? You gotta get back on this side. Like as far as depression, it's a state of low energy, right? You want to sleep all day. You can't muster the strength to do shit. You know what I mean? It's just life. It's just fucking has no purpose, right? It has no, right? So you gotta fucking work in the opposite direction, right? Like instead of because you do get comfortable and you gotta kind of break out of that and throw yourself over here, right? I think like gratitude, right? Practicing gratitude, counting your blessings, writing down 5 things that you're grateful for, being grateful for what you do have, because we always have more than enough, right? We always have more than enough, and there's always things to be grateful for. There's always things to be grateful for. And gratitude will start changing your state, right? Doing exercise, of course, is gonna help you because it's kind of like you circulate your metabolism, right? You're circulating that emotion, so it's kind of like you gotta circulate it to get it the fuck out. How do you circulate it? Through movement. Instead of being a stagnant fucking sad fucking person, you start moving. You start breathing life. You start fucking, you know what I mean? Throwing more positive things into the mind. Reading, singing, yelling, fucking expressing. You gotta express things. Express, writing, singing, yelling, talking. And it's also too like start working on your physiology, right? If it's one thing, right? Of don't let yourself go slouch forward. You know, bring your head down. Like I personally think I've always had problems with posture, right? I think I've came a long way, and I think my posture is a whole lot better, and it's pretty good now. But I used to have problems with posture with my back, with my shoulders. And yoga, working out, all those things have helped me a lot. But you could be physically or mentally aware of how it affects you, right? Like go just right now, look down. What happens when you look down, right? You start thinking negative thoughts, you start thinking sad, you start thinking blah blah blah, right? So that's that's the first thing. Look straight, right? Look straight, don't look down, don't look, because what happens, your body starts following you fucking downward, right? The body follows the ice. So look up, start looking up. I think Les Brown is the one that said it. When you fall down, if you could look up, then you could get up, right? So start looking straight. Don't look down no more. Start being aware of when you look down and get your eyes back up, because you look down and your mind starts thinking bad, start thinking negative. So keep that right. The posture or physiology. Be aware of your posture, right? Be aware of your posture. Like say you do this, right? Say you're standing in the mirror and you're standing like this, right? How the fuck do you feel? With your shoulders back, chest open, how the fuck do you feel, right? How do you feel? Start standing like this, you know what I mean? Force yourself to stand like this. Force yourself to open your body, right? Because what happens when you're depressed, right? You fucking start closing your body, right? And you want that motherfucker to be open. You want it to be open over here, you know what I mean? Hey, what's up, right? Start doing shit like this. That puts you in a better, positive state, right? And staying away from the bad language, the bad words. Don't talk about your problems and don't talk about your misery. Like if you needed to express them to a good friend, family member, loved one, do it. But don't fucking spend the rest of your life doing it. You know what I mean? Don't talk about it, because you're gonna create more and more of it, right? what you talk about, what you think about is what you're creating. So don't talk about it. Forget about the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Forget about it. Focus on the gratitude. Focus on what you do have. Focus on seeing the light in the darkness, right? And little by little start illuminating that fucking room till where everything is light. Everything is light and there is no more darkness. Because, I mean, going back to what Tony Robbins said, it takes as much work as it is to be sad as it does to be happy. It just boils down to choice, you know what I mean? Make a choice and fucking follow through, you know what I mean? Follow through, because who the fuck or how the fuck are you gonna benefit anything? Yourself, your friends, your loved ones, anything. Being like that, you know what I mean? How, right? Like, you do gotta process what you gotta process, right? But after you're done with that shit, fucking get your ass back up on your feet, you know what I mean? Make the best out of the situation, right? Make the best out of it. Turn them into stepping stones to fucking propel you and throw you in a whole lot better fucking place. Drink coffee, right? Drink coffee. Because if you're just like this, sluggish, drink a cup of coffee and see what the fuck happens, right? It lifts you up. You can't just be fucking sitting there. You want to do something. You want to fucking, you know what I mean? And pull the plug on the things that keep that depression alive, you know what I mean? Because we're creatures of habit. The mind it strongly revolves around habit. It likes habit and comfort. So whatever we've created and have been creating for a while, that's what it's just going to keep giving you more of. And it's not going to want to change. It's not going to want to change. So first of all, it's dealing with the issue, right? Dealing with it. Really being there with the emotion, right? However it is that you need to deal with it, process it, right? Like, be kind to yourself, right? Treat yourself in a loving way, you know what I mean? To help yourself, you know what I mean? To help yourself get through and overcome and rise back up again. And then start focusing on rebuilding yourself again, you know what I mean? Rebuilding yourself again. Rebuilding yourself again. Creating the better, happier reality, you know what I mean? So yeah, the physiology, processing the emotion, first of all, processing whatever shadow aspect or whatever is in the shadows that you need to bring to the light, right, or shed light upon. Exercise, reading, connecting to positive things, positive messages, positive music, positive, everything that you could get your hands on positive, right? Even positive people. Don't go where your sadness is just fucking magnified, amplified. Go where your positivity is magnified, amplified. Prayer and God or whatever your belief, religion may be, that is always going to get you through too, because faith moves mountains. Faith moves mountains. Right. I'm gonna go back to this little book Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. This little book will help you get out of it, right? Just like exercise, just like smiling, laughing. Let me say that real quick, man. I've heard of people who have had cancers, right? This one dude I read about, he had a terminal disease and they gave him months to live. He went, bought a shitload of comedy movies, locked himself in a hotel room for a month and watched comedy movies, and he healed himself from everything. Laughing is an emotion. It's a beautiful, beautiful emotion, right? That just like every other positive emotion, it could heal, right? It could heal. It's kind of like you stop feeding this energy and you start feeding this one. This one's gonna overpower it. It's gonna overpower it. What right here on the Power of Positive Thinking, I'm gonna read this page and a half real quick. It's chapter 5, How to Create Your Own Happiness. Who decides whether you shall be happy or unhappy? The answer, you do. A television celebrity had as a guest on his program an aged man, and he was a very rare old man indeed. His remarks were entirely unpremeditated, and of course absolutely unrehearsed. They simply bubbled up of a personality that was radiant and happy, and whatever he said, anything, it was so naive, so apt, that the audience roared with laughter. They loved him. The celebrity was impressed and enjoyed it with the others. Finally, he asked the old man why he was so happy. You must have a wonderful secret of happiness, he suggested. No, replied the old man. I haven't any great secret. It's just as plain as the nose on your face. When I get up in the morning, he explained, I have two choices, either to be happy or to be unhappy. And what do you think I do? I choose to be happy, and that's all there is to it. That may seem an oversimplification, and it may appear that the old man was superficial, but I recall that Abraham Lincoln, whom nobody could accuse of being superficial, said that people were just about as happy as they made up their minds to be. You can be unhappy if you want to be. It is the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. Just choose unhappiness, go around telling yourself that things aren't going well, that nothing is satisfactory, and you can be quite sure of being unhappy. But you say to yourself, things that are going nicely, life is good, I choose happiness, and you can be quite certain of having your choice. Children are more expert in happiness than adults. The adult who can carry the spirit of a child into middle and old age is a genius. For he will preserve the truly happy spirit with which God endowed the young. The subtlety of Jesus Christ is remarkable, for he tells us that the way to live in this world is to have the childlike heart and mind. In other words, never get old or dull or jaded in spirit. Don't become super sophisticated. My little daughter, Elizabeth, aged 9, has the answer to happiness. One day I asked her, "Are you happy, honey?" "Sure, I'm happy," she replied. "Are you always happy?" I asked. "Sure," she answered. "I'm always happy." "What makes you happy?" I asked her. "Why, I don't know," she said. "I'm just happy." "There must be something that makes you happy," I urged. "Well," she said, "I'll tell you what it is. My playmates, they make me happy. I like them. My school makes me happy. I like to go to school." I didn't say anything, but she never got that from me. "I like my teachers, and I like to go to church. I like Sunday school and my Sunday school teacher. I love my sister Margaret and my brother John. I love my mother and father. They take care of me when I'm sick, and they love me and are good to me." That is Elizabeth's formula for happiness, and it seems to me that it's all there. Her playmates, that's her associates. Her school, the place where she works. Her church and Sunday school, where she worships. Her sister, brother, mother, and father, that means the home circle where love is found. There you have happiness in a nutshell, and the happiest time of your life is in relation to those factors. A group of boys and girls were asked to list the things that make them happiest. Their answer was rather touching. Here is the boys' list. A swell of line, looking into deep clear water. Water being cut at the bow of a boat. a fast train rushing, a builder's crane lifting something heavy, my dog's eyes. And here's what the girl said that made them happy. Street lights on the river, red roofs in the trees, smoke rising from a chimney, red velvet, the moon in the clouds. There is something in the beautiful essence of the universe that is expressed, though only half articulated, by these things. To become a happy person, have a clean soul, eyes that see romance in the commonplace, a child's heart, and spiritual simplicity. Okay, and then we'll hear this other one real quick. An incident from one of my railroad journeys may suggest an answer. One morning in an old-style Pullman car, approximately a half dozen of us were shaving in the men's lounge. As always, in such a close and crowded quarters after a night on the train, this group of strangers was not disposed to be gay, and there was little conversation, and that little was mostly mumbled. Then a man came in wearing on his face a broad smile. He greeted us all with a cheery good morning, but received rather enthusiastic grunts in return. As he went about his shaving, he was humming, probably quite unconsciously, a gay little tune. It got a bit on the nerves of some of the men. Finally, one said rather sarcastically, "You certainly seem to be happy this morning. Why all the cheer?" "Yes," the man answered. "As a matter of fact, I am happy. I do feel cheerful." Then he added, "I make it a habit to be happy." That was all that was said, but I am sure each man in that lounge left the train with those interesting words in mind. I make it a habit to be happy. And then right here, the statement is really very profound. For our happiness or unhappiness depends to an important degree upon the habit of mind we cultivate. That collection of wise sayings, the book of Proverbs, tells us, "He that is of a merry heart hath a continual feast." Proverbs 15:15. And what? You know what I'm saying? And what these are things too that I highlighted. Okay, the happiness habit is developed by simply practicing happy thinking. Make a mental list of happy thoughts and pass them through your mind several times every day. If unhappiness thought should enter your mind, immediately stop. Consciously eject it and substitute a happiness thought. Every morning before arising, lie relaxed in bed and deliberately drop happy thoughts into your conscious mind. Let a series of pictures pass across your mind of each happy experience you expect to have during the day. Savor the joy such thoughts will help cause events to turn out that way. Okay, and then when you arise, say out loud 3 times this one sentence. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118:24. Only personalize it and say, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Repeat it in a strong, clear voice and with a positive tone and emphasis. The statement, of course, is from the Bible, and it is a good cure for unhappiness. If you repeat that one sentence 3 times before breakfast and meditate on the meaning of the words, you will change the character of the day by starting off with a happiness psychology. While dressing or shaving or getting breakfast, say out loud a few such remarks as following. I believe this day is going to be wonderful. I believe I can successfully handle all problems that will arise today. I feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, and it is wonderful to be alive. I am grateful for all that I have had, for all that I now have, and for all that I shall have. Things aren't going to fall apart. God is here and He is with me, and He will see me through. I thank God for every good thing. So I go up think this author in those brief statements kind of summed up the solution, right? The solution for depression, for depression. Man, so fucking. This is a really good book, man. This is a really good book, man. Books will get you out of depression, right? Because when you know better, you do better, right? When you know better, you do better. I think I should have just read that little fucking phrase instead of saying what I said, right? So, yeah, getting a grip on your emotions, exercise, reading, throwing positive things in the mind, like how he said, affirming positive things, right? Affirming positive things in the morning, throughout your day. And pulling away from the negative emotions, the negative music, the negative words, the negative people. And just sticking to the positive, right? Drink a coffee, dance, move, yell, sing, write. Go have a good time, laugh, smile. Force yourself to smile in the mirror. Go force yourself to smile for 5 to 10 minutes whenever you feel. Just force yourself to smile. And that alone will change your state. That's simple. Just force yourself to smile. Or watch funny movies, watch funny things. Don't watch other things that make you sad, right? You gotta lift the spirit and keep it lifted. So, I hope everybody has a good one, man. I hope everybody has a good one. Know that you the power is in your hands. Know that you can and you will overcome this and be free from it. Know it. Know it and do it, right? Knowledge is knowing, but wisdom is doing. Wisdom is doing. So apply that, and work with it, right? Work with it. And just fucking. I hope you could get at least one of those tools, right? One of those different tools, and stick to it. If you can use 2 or 3 of them, do them. The more the better, right? I hope you succeed and come out triumphant from whatever state you may find yourself. And get through it all, and come out better at the other end. So I hope everybody has a good one, and we'll see you.